Welcome to the Secrets of College Planning. I'm your host, Anthony Uva, and today we're going to get some insight into college in Costa Rica. My guest today is Ellen Rose. She is the Executive Director for Texas Tech University in Costa Rica, and welcome to the show.
Thanks a lot, Anthony, and thanks for having me. I'm coming in live from San Jose, Costa Rica today, so it's a pleasure to be joining you.
Great. Thank you very much. Usually I start my guests where they went to college. So where'd you go to school?
I went to school in the New York area at Barnard College, which is the women's college at Columbia University. And I loved every minute of being in the city. I'm from Ohio originally. And so for me, being in Manhattan was a big adventure. And I took full advantage of the city and everything that it had to offer. And loved my 4 years, loved it so much that I stayed for graduate school at Columbia and earned 2 degrees at Columbia and worked at the university as well in several of the offices.
So let's just go back in time before we get into what you're doing now. In high school, when did you start thinking about going to college? Was it freshman year, senior year? Did your parents just said you have to go? How did it all work for you?
For me, it was far before high school. I was thinking of college probably well before even junior high. I remember about thinking of college and always had aspirations to go somewhere good, get out of the Midwest and go to the East Coast. And so I started looking at colleges really, really early on. I started honing in on the Seven Sisters also because I thought that they would give me like a small liberal arts experience, but also give me all of the ability to work with faculty members who were in research positions and also would maybe open up the world in a different way than I had to which I was exposed in Dayton, Ohio. So I looked at all Seven Sisters, I looked at all the Ivies and a few others. And in the end, I had a really nice choice, but it was Manhattan that really called my attention. And so I became obsessed with going to New York and my wish came true.
Great. So now you go to college. Could you tell us the experience that you had when you got there?
Yeah, well, I remember when my parents dropped me off and I couldn't believe they were going to leave me. They'd given me what I wanted. And then I thought, am I allowed to even cross the street by myself? So it was a little strange. And I felt like, wow, I'm in this big concrete jungle, and it was sink or swim in Manhattan. And Barnard and Columbia are very much, they expect you to be fiercely independent, and that was what I was craving, and I enjoyed it. So from the very beginning, I decided I was going to become active, and I wanted to be the first year class president. So immediately I ran for first year class president. And that was something that I kept up throughout until I became the chair of the student government. My senior year, I had positions all of my years. Also, I had internships and work and study throughout. I worked for all 4 years in the College of Career Development, which I loved. So I learned how to write a heck of a resume, an interview. And so that, to me, working on campus in that office was phenomenal. And then I did all of my internships. I interned at New York One News. I interned at Sotheby's. And then probably my favorite was Legal Aid Society Harlem. Wow. And I really enjoyed that. So also I used my internships and my job experiences to probably eliminate things, because I always thought it was easier to decide what I didn't like than what I did like. So I was trying all these different things. And it was wonderful to have exposure and in all of these different areas.
So now, what did you study as you went into grad school?
Okay, well, I was waiting for you to ask me what I majored in because it's a very odd combination. I did a double major in political science and art history. Art history was my passion, and because I was in New York, I wanted to be able to take classes at all the museums and have all of that as part of my 4-year experience, and I did. I took classes everywhere, even at the Cloisters, which is all the way up north. I took a class every Friday afternoon where I went up there, and it was one of the most amazing things. And then I did political science because I thought I wanted to be a lawyer. And I thought, oh, I needed history or political science. And that was really for my parents. They wanted something more practical, not that political science is that practical. And so I had that combination, which I enjoyed immensely, doing that double major. And that really, and I thought I would, and as I said, I thought I would go to law school. And so upon graduation, I was a paralegal in a big Wall Street law firm when there were still big Wall Street law firms ages ago. And through that, I realized that wasn't what I wanted to do. And then I applied for a master's program in public administration at Columbia and got really involved in sort of the life of international policy. And that is what led me to my next degree. And during that time, I guess I should mention that I was working first in the university. I worked in helping in admissions in the public administration program. And then later I started working at Barnard. I worked first in alumni affairs and then in development, raising in the major gifts department, raising for scholarships largely.
Wow.
And it was after that I decided that I was going to pursue a doctoral program at the School of Journalism at Columbia, and went on to do that. And that's a sad story, and one of my big regrets, because I am ABD, all but dissertation. There's a good reason for that. So I don't know if you want me to tell that story now, or if you want to go on to something else more relevant.
Sure, no, absolutely. Go ahead.
Okay, so I loved my program, and it was a brand new program. They started a doctorate in communications at the School of Journalism, and I was the first cohort. There were 3 of us. And during that time, I also won a scholarship to do research in Latin America. And so I came down to Costa Rica because I also needed to learn a second language as part of my requirements for my doctoral program. And I loved Costa Rica. And you can see what happened. So I finished up all of my coursework and then moved back down here after my Fulbright. And I started a business, an educational consulting business down in Costa Rica. And so it made it a little bit difficult for me to go back and finish my degree, coupled with the fact that I did a draft of my dissertation and my dissertation advisor passed away. And so they asked me to get a whole new committee. And I thought, what do I want to do? Start this whole thing again? Or do I want to pursue my entrepreneurial, desires and stay down in Latin America doing what I want to do? So the second one out. And so I have 2 master's degrees from Columbia, and but I did not finish my dissertation, sadly. But
Wow.
I had a business down here for 18 years, which is still running and still, alive, but I'm no longer involved. I sold my shares.
So now you're down there in Costa Rica. How do you go from your own business to becoming the executive director at Texas Tech University, Costa Rica?
Good question. So one of my clients from my consulting business, his dream was to bring a U.S. university closer to home, so that we could provide high quality, basically STEM degrees, science, technology, engineering, and math degrees to students in Latin America without people having to leave. And so he was part of this project, and I had heard about it for years. And there was someone else who was helping him work on it. And one day he and his wife came and knocked on my door, and they said, I don't know if you would consider coming when we launch and helping to run the campus. And so I thought it was too good an opportunity to pass up. And so that was I started in March 2018. And so it's a public-private partnership, which is really, really interesting. So it's a group of investors. I actually work for the group of investors who brought this university down here, and they partnered with Texas Tech, and Texas Tech runs all the academics, and you get a Texas Tech degree down here. There was a group of private investors who actually put together this deal with Texas Tech, which is a public institution from Texas. It's one of the 3 large state institutions in Texas. And as we say, the rest is history. Wow. So now we have this campus down here. We are about to have our first graduates in about 2 weeks. So it's very exciting.
Wow. So give me a sense of the atmosphere in at the university. What do the students, what do they see as soon as they get onto the campus?
Okay. Well, I think it's not what you imagine. The campus is a big state-of-the-art facility. It was built 4 years ago, so everything is brand new. We have cutting-edge labs, and even the classrooms here are fabulous. And essentially, you feel like you're in Costa Rica, yet you walk into this building and suddenly you are in the United States. It feels like you are in the U.S. and everything is in English here, and you are studying with faculty members from all over the world like you would just on any other university campus in the United States. And so we have replicated a unique experience that like you would have at Texas Tech, but sort of tropicalized a bit, I would say. We have smaller classes, and because we're only 4 years in, and remember we got hit by the pandemic a year and a half into starting operations here. So our classes are small. There's a lot of individualized attention, but again, all academics are set and standardized by Texas Tech.
Wow. So now, do students have to apply to Texas Tech University in Texas first to get to Costa Rica, or how does it work?
Well, we do all the recruitment down here. So whether you're applying from, Kansas or Kenya, or, from Guatemala, or I don't know, Georgia, we will recruit you down here. However, all applications run through the Central Admissions Office, undergraduate admissions at Texas Tech University. So we do not do the admitting. So it is the exact same standards that you would have, whether you're coming down here or whether you're coming to the main campus in Lubbock, Texas. And the students who choose to apply to Texas Tech Costa Rica are down here, and you can stay here all 4 years. The other nice thing is it's pretty much of an open campus policy. If you'd like to go and spend a semester or a year up on the main campus, you can. The same if you are in Lubbock and you would like to come down here for, again, I'll say the same thing, a year, a semester, you can come down here and you can study, because it's really the notion of a global campus, which is, a wonderful thing.
Wow.
So that there is a lot of interaction between the two campuses.
Now, do you get students from other universities to come as well, or is it just university, Texas Tech University, and that's it?
We are open to study abroads from any, and visiting students from any university in the United States. Right before the pandemic, we were supposed to have 3 other universities who were running study abroad programs that summer. So, we closed down in March, like everybody else did, March 2020, went online, and we had 3 programs that were going to come. And so nobody from other universities has been brave enough to come yet. However, Costa Rica is totally open for business and easy to come down and travel to. And we are now working with other universities, and we will have study abroads, not this summer, but I believe in December, we will have a group from a couple other universities.
So now the students that come, you said the school is based on the STEM, so science and technology and engineering. And so every student has to have that in their repertoire before they even come to the school. Is that correct?
Well, let me correct myself. So it is STEM based or STEAM based, however you want to say it. But they're basically 2 different areas. So we have a management area, which I would argue is somewhat STEM based, and then we have the hardcore science and engineering areas. So we have a couple programs that are really, I think, for people who want to study hospitality and retail. So we have restaurant, hotel, and institutional management, which is, there's no better place to study tourism than Costa Rica. Who doesn't want to come here to do that, right? And then we also have retail management, and then as well we have business management. And so that's one area I would say. And then the other is we have industrial engineering, we have mathematics, we have computer science, and then we also have an engineering program. An electrical engineering program, and that's a 2+2. So you do 2 years here, and then you do 2 years on the main campus.
Wow.
So those are our 7 degree fields. right now, and we are constantly growing, and we have several minors as well. And the neat thing is that we have a whole, group of faculty members who live and work down here, but also we have a lot of live synchronous classes from Texas, and you can even enroll in classes on the main campus and be sitting down here, and you are taught from an instructor in Texas. So so we were doing online well before the pandemic, and doing it hybrid and also synchronous, asynchronous. So for us to shift during that time was really, really easy, because it was sort of part of our DNA of how we were already doing things.
Now, the students that come there, how do you find the students? First of all, is it pretty much just promoted through the main campus, or are you out there actively going to high schools and doing that kind of stuff?
We are pounding the pavement. We have a whole group of recruiters here. And actually, I was up in New Jersey a couple of weeks ago recruiting, and we had people in Miami 2 weeks before that. Last week in California, I head to Guatemala at the end of this week. So we are all over the place. So we are in full gear recruiting really everywhere. And so we are back on the international recruitment cycle.
So now, what are the requirements for students to come there? Is it A, B students? Do they need SATs? Can you give us a sense of what the requirements are?
Sure, of course. So not all disciplines require the SATs. They're strongly encouraged across, every single major. However, for RIM, restaurant, hotel, and institutional management, and retail management, it's not required. But for all the engineerings, they are required, and also for business, they are required. Now with the pandemic, it's been loosened up. So I think this year, and our application is still open, by the way, everyone. So I think that that's an important thing, that our applications are open still for another 2 months. So if things didn't go your way, and you're still looking, this is another neat opportunity, I think, that could be good for those who would like to study, outside the United States and try their hand. But yeah, it's for students, I would say, for A and B students. But if you have a B, there is absolutely no problem. You can get in. And we also have something called, so you can come in undeclared, of course, but you can also do Explore STEM, and you can also do Explore Business. So if you don't have the grades or the SATs to be able to get in, you can start in these sort of exploratory areas and then get in after your first year. So there's a lot of flexibility. What we're interested in is helping students be successful and figure out what they would like to do.
Now, the biggest question from parents is usually financial. Money is it's a lot to go anywhere these days. Sure. So what are some of the things that Texas Tech University in Costa Rica, what do they do? Is there scholarships available? Are there financial aid available? That kind of stuff.
All right. Well, I think it's important to know that 57% of our students are on some form of aid, and that's scholarship largely. So we have really generous scholarships down here. Also, tuition is much more accessible than it is if you are an out-of-stater on the main campus. We're about 30% cheaper, 33% cheaper, and cost of living is also, a bit lighter down here. So essentially, tuition, if you were to take a full load, which is 15 credits, we're not even talking 18, because that's pretty hard in engineering, for instance, or in business. But for 15 credits, it's $9,000. So it's $18,000 in tuition, which I think in today's prices, that is pretty reasonable. And it's not state or in-state, there's just one price for all. And living expenses are somewhere between $750 and $1,000, depending on how you would like to live, because that's very personal. Yeah. Do you want the penthouse, or do you want to really live like the students? So do you want a car? Do you not need a car? So,
now, the next thing is usually extracurricular activities. Is there rooms on campus? Is there things that they do outside, clubs? all different types of clubs, photography or whatever they're looking for? Is there sports, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so we do extracurricular activities. That's one of the areas that is more under development. So I prefer to be very honest with this. And that is that we had students in this building for a year and a half, and then everybody sort of left. So right as things were getting going, things shut down. So right now we have student government, we have a video gaming club, we have a debate club, we have a sustainability club. We have a broad range of things, but we are also of the mind that any students who want, and this is the Texas Tech spirit, any student who wants to start a club can and will start a club. Also, because of where we are located, we're in a beautiful area of the city, and there are gyms right on site, dance studio on site. There is a huge park right near us. So sports and exercise are right here. We also do a lot of weekend activities, hiking. We're about an hour and 15 minutes away from the beach. So a lot of students do go away on weekends, surfing and snorkeling. We have scuba classes here. So anything what you can imagine it would be like in Costa Rica, it is like in Costa Rica, but there is also a huge emphasis on sustainability here. So our building is what we would call a smart building, and it's certified for LEED, which is one of the certifiers for sort of a green building. And so there's recycling here. There's a huge emphasis on making sure that there's zero waste, and it's part of our ethos down here. That's the way the country is, and that's the way the university mirrors the way the country is as well.
That's fantastic. So do students get involved in that? Is that a major as well as sustainability?
Right now, we are working to launch in September a minor in sustainability. And there are lots of opportunities right now to volunteer. And I'll mention another neat opportunity that we have too. So, and we believe that sustainability, we're working with the main campus because it's all academics, as I said, flow from the main campus, and that should turn into a major. It's not a major right now on the main campus, but that is the goal, to have the minor turn into a major. Wow. And a lot of the engineering practices here are also inflected with sustainability. And another neat thing that we do is we offer, it's not a work study program because that's a federal program. This is work and study. So it has the nice ampersand in there. And so all of our students, basically after their first semester, we help them go through a job fair and they can find jobs. So there are many, many firms, especially in the areas of sustainability, that are hiring. But we have students who have worked at Intel, who have worked at Citibank, who worked at Ernst & Young. Microsoft contacted us, Uber. So believe it or not, I know people think about Costa Rica as just, sloths, three-toed sloths and monkeys and surfing and hanging out on the beach. But believe it or not, Costa Rica is really at the center. It's a hub of industry for the Americas. So you have every major multinational pretty much it has an office here. I just mentioned a few, but IBM has its cybersecurity lead for the Americas here. Intel has a huge plant and also corporate offices here, employing thousands and thousands of people. Procter and Gamble. So we have really great relationships with a lot of those companies, and they come and they recruit here for our work and study program. And also all of our students who are graduating in 6 weeks, everyone is employed. So, wow. And it's because we just have that great relationship with these companies.
And now, do students have to pick up Spanish as part of it as well? I mean, the country is Spanish, right?
Yeah, it's a Spanish-speaking country. You could survive well without speaking Spanish, but if you want to enjoy the culture, and one would argue, I've lived here for 21 years now, one would argue that you'll get so much more out of your stay and your experience just going and interacting with people outside the university, and outside the confines of, sort of this beautiful high-end area in which we're located, you should learn some Spanish. But can you survive? Absolutely. Here, Costa Rica is a really international place, and there is tourism from all over the world. So you can, but it's fun to learn Spanish. And so we offer English language bridge programs for people who want to come here, whose English isn't up to par, so they can come from anywhere. And conversely, we have a relationship with a Spanish language bridge program too.
Wow.
That helps students, if they would like to learn Spanish, to come down here.
Well, Ellen, we're coming to the end of our show. And usually I ask my guests, what advice do you want to give to the students and the parents that are watching? What advice do you want to give them?
What I would say is, and I was in the business for 18 years of college consulting and advising. So I worked with students and families, helping them make the big decision of where their student was going to go, and even high schools and also grad schools. So a couple of things I would say. One is that no decision is forever. So go make your best decision. But if it's not your best decision, or if it doesn't work out, there's transfer. You can go elsewhere. Don't imbue, this one decision with, oh, this is the rest of my life, or I'll never be successful. That's one. Two, that the world is global today. And that, even if you don't want to come to, NYU Abu Dhabi, or, Texas Tech Costa Rica, or any of the other fabulous campuses, you don't want to go to Education City in Qatar, that's okay. But do some kind of international experience, have that, go abroad and learn, because more and more we're all called upon to live and play and work and learn in that international arena. If you had asked me when I was 18 years old, and if I would be living in Costa Rica or abroad, and I should mention that I also lived in Africa twice too, because of my husband's career. I lived in Cabo Verde islands off of Senegal, and I lived in Mozambique, the opposite side, due north of South Africa. When I was 17 or 18 years old going through this process, if you had told me that I would have an international lifestyle, I would have said, you're crazy. I have the Dayton, Ohio mentality. And now I can't imagine, living in the United States. I look for, this adventure everywhere. So I'd encourage everybody to look beyond, where they live and grew, where they're living and where they're growing up, and think, I could wind up anywhere.
Well, great. Thank you very much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. It was so wonderful to be here. Call on me anytime, Anthony.
Thank you. So you've been watching The Secrets of College Planning. I'm your host, Anthony Uva. Until next time.